Verse 2. And God said, okay, Abraham, you want me to look at you? Okay. God said, I see something wrong. Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. God said, Abraham, you want me to look into you? Okay, I see. I look, and I see something wrong. You love your son too much. Kill him. Hey, why? Is it wrong for a man to love his son? No. Actually, if you want to give another name to the book, Bible, it must be the book of love. God loving us. We loving God. The man loving his wife. Wife loving the husband. And they loving the children. And it's a book of love, even in the church. Then why God is saying, you love your son too much and kill him? Because he was, try to understand. He was taking God's time and giving it to his son. I know some people in India, not in Malaysia, only in India. When they don't have a job, they will be standing there and crying, God, I don't have a job. You must give me a job. And God is a merciful God. He will give a job. Then there is no prayer in India. Don't let it happen to you. When your daughter is not married, we spend a lot of time fasting and praying. But once the marriage is over, how much time we pray? When we don't have a child, we fast and pray. But once we got a child, then do we pray? God is saying, you love. If you study the Bible, before Isaac was born, Abraham was spending much time with God. Oh God, you are God. Oh God, I love you. But once Isaac was born, he was giving too much time to his son. He was talking about God also, but most of the time, he was stealing God's time. Second point, give to God what he's asking for. Even if it's very precious, even if you love that very much, if God is asking, give it to him. It may be some time to pray. It may be your child. Maybe you have only one son and he became a medical doctor. And last month he got married. And next week he's coming back, he's coming to you and say, I heard P.G. Vargis talking about India and I am going to India as a missionary. Son, you are a medical doctor. You got married only last week. Why you want to go to India? You can go to California. You can go to Germany, England. But what? You at least go to Singapore. There are many Indians there. If God is asking anything from you, even if it is precious, give it to him. Second point. Third point, I'm going a bit fast. I'm a long preacher. In India we don't have we don't have watches. People are poor. But we have a calendar at the back. When somebody will change the calendar, we stop preaching. Verse 3. And Abraham rose up. I'm taking one verse, 1 point from each verse. Actually, if you'll study this Bible, go back home and study this chapter, you will see Abraham has taken 18 steps to get closer to God and get that special blessing. 18 steps. That is what I found. Maybe you will find more. But I'm taking one verse, 1 point from each verse. Verse 3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his young men with him and Isaac his son and clave the wood for the burnt offering and rose up and went into the place of which God had told him. Now, I had been to Jerusalem 6 times. I did not go there on a tour, but I went there to preach. And when I'm talking about these places, I can just visualize it. Now on those days, even now there are not many people. If there are people, they are in the cities. Jerusalem, cities like that. Bethany, Cana, places like that. But now think about it. 3,500 years back or 5,000 years back, think about it. There were people only at certain pockets. You leave one village and walk for 30 miles or 50 miles, there will not be anybody. It was thinly, very thinly populated. So Abraham started his journey. And he went to the place that God has shown him. Why he is going? To kill his son, to sacrifice his son. His brain should have told him, Abraham, you don't have to walk that much distance. Why you have to walk for 3 days? Here is a wonderful mountain. There is a wonderful rock. There are plenty firewood there. Why don't you sacrifice your son here? The devil should have tempted him to take a shortcut. But he did not. The third point, don't take a shortcut. Go to the place that God had told him. Total obedience. The third point, total obedience. Not what your brain will tell you. Not what your liking will tell you. Whatever God will tell you. Total obedience. I read somewhere, delayed obedience is the brother of disobedience. I like that. When you are not obeying 100%, a partial obedience is a partial disobedience. A delayed obedience is the brother of disobedience. So obey 100%. Otherwise, it is not total obedience. Verse 4, fourth point. And on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. On the third day, for 3 days, God made him walk. Why? If God wanted him to sacrifice his son, as soon as he will start his journey, there is nobody, there will be a mountain. I know about Jerusalem, Palestine. It's a land of mountains and mountains. And God should have told him, hey, here is a good mountain, sacrifice your son here. But no, but God made him to walk for 3 days. Why? Now, on those days, people will be walking like this. First the donkey, then the servant, then Isaac, then Abraham, then the donkey, then the servant. They are walking like this. And when they are walking, Abraham will be looking at the body of his son. He's 30 years old. He is the prime age of his life. Very healthy. Farmer, shepherd. So very healthy. He'll be looking at his muscles. How his muscles of his legs are moving. How his muscles of his hand is moving. How his cheek is shining under the sun. A day from morning to night, he's watching his son, and his mind will say, how I can cut the throat of my son? No, I cannot do it. Then he will say, I don't understand it. It is difficult for me to do it, but I will do it because God demanded it. I will do it because God demanded it. Do it even if it is difficult to do it. And then in the night, everybody is sleeping. 2 donkeys, 2 servants, and in the middle, the master and the son. Because they had been walking through the desert, everybody is asleep. But one man cannot sleep, Abraham. He will lift up his head and look at his son, the moon and the stars shining. He'll look at his son and say, how I can kill my son? There are some promises that hasn't fulfilled so far. Should I go and consult a prophet? In India, people do that, not in Malaysia, you know. When we don't want to do something, we go for a second opinion to another prophet. Even if he is saying what I knew I must do, I go to a third prophet. Why you have to do it? I don't know. Abraham did not go. And he did not say, hey, I'm not going to sacrifice. I have to give a sacrifice. I'll take a bull. No, I'll take a servant. No, I have another son somewhere, I can get him. A substitute offering cannot please God. Third point, don't quit. He should have been tempted to go back. But he did not go back. Third point, don't quit, don't turn back, don't go back. Keep on walking with God, even if it is difficult, even if you lost somebody, even if there was a death in the family, even if there was an accident in the family, even if there was a calamity in the family. Don't quit. Keep on walking, keep on walking, keep on walking. Tears may roll down on your cheeks. Wipe it with one hand, but hold on the plow. Don't go back. Verse 5, the fifth point. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide here with the donkey, and I and the boy will go there and worship and come again to you. You heard this message before. He said to the servants, hey, You be here. And keep the donkeys also. Why? I heard many messages. I preached it. But one day I was thinking, I was thinking why he said, okay, of course, my father is a Catholic, Jacobite in Kerala. He taught me the Bible stories. He told me maybe he was frightened that the servants will stop him when he's going to cut the throat of his son. They will say, no, master, you cannot do it. He's an old man, so he was slightly apprehensive, slightly frightened, maybe. But then I thought, why he asked the young men to keep the donkeys? It should have been easier for him to go to that place if he had the donkeys. He can ride on the donkey. He's an old man. Not only that, the firewood can be carried by the donkeys. Why he asked the men to be there and keep the donkeys? I learned one thing. There must be a separation when you're worshiping God. So far they were having a union fellowship. But once he saw the place of worship, that is it. Once he saw the place of worship, there was a separation. Maybe your father is an alcoholic. Your brother-in-law may be an idol worship or a witchcraft man. We must have fellowship with them in the house. But when it comes to worship, dearly beloved, let there be a separation from the donkey. What is a donkey? Donkey is a type of a sinner, unsaved person. And what is a servant? Servant is living in the same house, according to St. Paul. He's living in the same house, but not a son, a backslider. Let us be separated. Do you know when Jesus was praying for the sick people, he did not take all the 12 disciples. He took only a few. Only few. Be separated. Verse 6. You may like this point. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and the knife, and they went both of them together. Here it talks about a 130-years-old aged man and his son, 30 years old young man. They are walking together. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. They cannot walk together. There is no road. There is no footpath. There are rocks. Abraham has to, yeah, come here, son. But the Bible says they walk together. What does that mean? It is not two physical bodies walking together, but two hearts walking together. There was unity. If you will ask me to give you 1 point out of the 18, this is it. If you want to see a miracle in your life, make unity. Unity will not happen by itself. Unity is created. And let me tell you, it is hard work. Especially to live with my wife. It is very hard. When we got married, I did not like her. And she did not like me. And our natures are different. I like chapati, roti, chana. And she likes rice. I don't like rice. She likes vegetables. I'm not Chinese. I don't like vegetables. I like meat. She likes fish. I put everything in order. I know what is in my right pocket. I know what is in my left pocket. But now in my home, all of us will be looking for her specs, her shoes. Nobody knows where are they. We are of two continents in our nature. Now I like coffee and she likes tea. 3 years back I decided to change from coffee to tea to save money. That was the only reason. To save. I'm telling you the truth. To save money for North India, not for my family. I have no savings. I have no house, no money in the bank. No, everything is invested in the mission field. So I decided that I'm going to